Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of the podcast. Today's episode from the deep end, Charcadet Evolutions. I'm your host, Draco, and joining me today are Chase.
How's it going, everyone?
And Guren.
Lola.
And let's dive into it. We're already well into Gen 9, and we all have had our chances to play the game, pick out our favorite Pokemon, and Guren came up to us and said, hey, what if we talk about possible evolutions to Charcadet? And so we've touched base with an artist by the name of Sora, whose links will be down below, and we've all submitted some concept ideas for our Charcadet evolutions. So I'm going to kick this over to Guren.
Hello, it's everybody's residential edgelord, Guren. But the whole idea about this was when Charcadet was first introduced, or at least its evolution forms were introduced, it totally just blew my mind. And the fact that it has two different evolutions was one of the things that just got my mind thinking. It's okay, so we don't have a new evolution, but maybe, just maybe, and hopefully not only, Charcadet is kind of our new Eevee type of Pokemon. Just hear me out, viewers. The fact that it does have a different evolution method to turn it into either Ceruledge or Armor Rouge. But what I thought was maybe if we have future games or something, Charcadet will have more evolution methods. The other reason where I think it might be another Eevee evolution was also because of the fact that when you look at its base stats, they have the exact same numbered count, just like Eevee's evolutions. So when I pitched this idea to everybody here, we thought, okay, yeah, let's try to come up with our own Charcadet evolutions and how it gets to that point. The idea that I came up with was a fire dragon type Charcadet evolution, which I have called Grageous, which is basically a play on words with the gray color scheme along with the Aegis, which is a name for a shield. Basically, the evolution method for it was collecting the drop materials from a Gudra or Hisuian Gudra, depending on what's available in the game. Just like the other Charcadet evolutions, its main ability would be Flash Fire. I gave it and its hidden ability would be something I dub Reactive Scales. When it's hit with a move, depending on the type of move it is, whether it's a physical move or a special move, it will raise that respective stat by one stage. It only activates once though per switch in. The signature move that I had for it was called Dragon Shield. So it kind of works like Shell Trap from the Pokemon Turtonator, where it has to get hit by the opponent's move first. And then depending on the move that it got hit with, that's what type of damage it will deal back to the opponent. So if it gets hit with a physical type move, the damage back to B will be physical. And if it's hit with a special type move, it will hit back with special damage. If we look at its base stat total, which is 525, I tried to make it as bulky as possible since I did kind of based off of a more defensive Pokemon. So it's got 85 HP, 80 attack, 100 defense, 75 special attack, 125 special defense, and 60 speed, because when you look at it, it definitely looks like a slow Pokemon, but it also have its defensive moves. The armor for it was supposed to be called the Vigorous armor. Yeah, the idea that I had for this, the inspiration, those card games, if you've heard of the collectible card game Shadowverse, there is a card on there the main character has called Levitating Dragon. It has 3 different modes. Its defense mode is what I kind of had the idea based off of. Yeah, so just something like that, just a really bulky dragon type of Pokemon. And the other inspiration for it as well was the fact that I think dragons always had a hoard of treasure that they would like to protect and keep. I thought, hey, why not do it that way too? This guy's just protected something. And you can find this Pokemon in caves if it ever finds itself in the wild.
One of the things I really like about the design is first, the shields look like dragon heads, but also the little tassels that are hanging off them sort of look like the shields themselves are breathing fire. It literally just looks like this man is built for shield bashing people. Come too close, boom, no, sit down.
I don't know. For me, I'm looking at the arms and all I'm Digimon, digital mon. Don't get me wrong. I love Greymon. I love War Greymon. It's definitely giving me that resonating Greymon vibe, but in that Pokemon sort of way. It's a good mix. And I just like the fact that this thing just looks like a meat shield. This thing looks like if it caught you in an alleyway, you're not going any further. You're going to stay right there. And if you keep persisting, planted in the ground, face first. So, I mean, this definitely looks like a meat shield.
have it as a bouncer at a bar, like, not on the list.
No, he's not guarding the door. He is the door.
He is the door.
Literal pokeification of you shall not pass.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you look at the way the designs on the legs are, it's just like they're gargantuan. They look huge, and even the feet look like they fit, because all of that heavy armor, you've got to have a good base, or I can just push the top and watch you tip over. But this guy looks like he's ready to plant himself in the way of something and just say no.
That thing ain't moving.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that when you think about Aegis, I believe is a shield of myth, and it definitely fits the name, and that's, I think, where it really just shines through, is that it does fit the name. So for my Charcadet Evo, we have to jump into the way back machine. I got into RPGs through Final Fantasy. The very first one I really fell in love with was back when it was known as Final Fantasy II, which is actually Final Fantasy IV. In it, you had one of the first characters you were introduced to is the Dragoon, which is this armored knight that just leaps into the air and then comes down with a flying lance.
Cecil, baby.
Not Cecil. Cecil was the other guy.
Oh, right. Kane. My bad.
But I have always had a love of the Dragoon from that moment forward. So mine was a fire flying type. One of the things that I miss is the ability Aerialate. Wanted to at least give a Pokemon that ability again, where all normal type moves become flying type moves. And the armor you would need to give your Charcadet would be the Tempest armor. And the signature move that I would give it would be similar to the move Bounce, but instead of a chance to paralyze, it just ignores barriers, because he's jumping so high up that they can angle exactly how to come in. Because of the fact that it's supposed to be a dragon type knight, of course it would have fins on the sides of it, to like little wings, so that that's how it controls its descent. They act like little gliders, and so that was kind of my shtick with it. I definitely wanted to give it higher stats in speed and physical attack, but other than that, that was pretty much my whole role on it. And I think Sora did a really good job trying to incorporate those ideas with it.
Oh yeah. Look at the picture again. It's like, looks pretty. What was your thing called again?
It's Azul Lance, combination of the Spanish word for blue, Azul, and the Final Fantasy weapon that the main character used was the lance.
Yeah, so your idea for a Zoo Lance, Draco, I thought was really nice. I like the nice touch too, like especially since you did base it off of Kane from Final Fantasy IV. I'm sorry, I'm a fake Final Fantasy fan. I said Cecil earlier. But
I want to cancel this, man.
But I think it came out really well too, like especially since you kind of gave it a move that's similar to the jump ability from the class itself. So like I really like that. And Aerialate, just like what you said, like it's a move that I think we've only seen on like one Pokemon, and that was like a Mega.
2 when they were both Megas.
Oh, 2. Okay, yeah, and yeah, they were both Megas. So it's kind of like, oh man, that's kind of a letdown a little bit, you know? Like you only have access to it in like 2 games? Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
I also dig putting Aerialate on it, but also I do dig the concept behind its hidden ability, being able to change its trajectory in the air because it is able to jump so high, and make use of its body and those fin-like appendages to help it glide and do its flying things. So similarly to Draco, I chose a creature from a game, but I'm going to move away from video games and I'm going to take you guys back to tabletop games. So I based pretty much the Pokemon's name and basically part of the inspiration for it on a Trent, which is like this big tree monster from D&D, Dungeons & Dragons. My Pokemon's name is Trent, which combines Chartreuse, which is basically just green, and Trent, because my concept is a fire grass type Charcadet evolution. Its category is the fire druid Pokemon, because druids are often connected to nature magic. For its evolution, the armor I decided to give it is called the Luscious Armor, and to obtain the Luscious Armor you need to trade 20 Bramblin twigs, which is the material that Bramblin drops. The hidden ability, I created a new ability called Forest Blaze, and Forest Blaze will boost Chartrene's speed to the max in harsh sunlight, and also has a small chance to heal the Pokemon by 1/8 of its total HP. The signature move I gave it is the user strikes the opposing Pokemon with their Smoldering Tonfa, inflicting burn and scattering a new sort of field hazard called Smoldering Embers across the opponent's side of the field, and these Smoldering Embers will burn any of the opponent's Pokemon that enter the battlefield, and does have a small chance to reduce their speed by 1 stage. This move also comes with a drawback, because this move also drops the user's attack by 2 stages, because after using the move, because the Tonfas are basically smoldering on fire, they would break. But it does increase the special attack by 2 stages, so it's sort of a trade-off. It's a physical move, 120 power, accuracy 100%. Base stat total is obviously 525 in keeping with the other evolutions. HP 80, attack 125, special attack 100, defense 75, special defense 80, and speed 65.
I like it. And as an avid D&D player, I approve.
Thank you.
I do like the fact that you base it off of a Treant as well, because like I definitely wasn't expecting that. Like if you look at it, like, or when I looked at it, I wasn't expecting Treant was the inspiration for it. I did think though, when you did say D&D, like I was looking at it, it did seem to kind of give me like Robin Hood-ish vibes. So it kind of like made me think, oh, it's kind of like it's like a rogue. Besides that, I like the move that you gave it. The one that has I think it leaves like the little embers behind that has a chance to burn an opponent's Pokemon, and I think also it burns the opponent's Pokemon when it enters the field, but it has a chance to slow. I thought that was pretty neat. Like it's like Toxic Spikes but with burn, and that would also be just as annoying as Toxic Spikes, I think. Maybe with that added slow though.
I think the most interesting thing about it is the fact that it's so unassuming that it's a fire type in the design work. I think Sora hiding that fact actually hides it with all of the designs, save for yours, that there's a fire type behind all that armor, and I like it. And the Tonfas actually remind me of, there's a character in Soul Calibur that the design reminds me so much of, and I believe the character's name is Talum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting very strong Talum vibes off of this, especially with the coloring, because I'm used to seeing Talum in green.
Yeah. So I decided to go for Tonfa because obviously it's pretty much a blunt force weapon instead of like Cerulege, which is obviously a sword, and then Armarouge, which is a big old cannon.
Dang. Okay, and then last but not least, we do have an idea that is pitched in by the artist himself, Sora. His idea for his Charcadet evolution is a fire fairy type called Q-Pixie, which is a play on words with the word Cupid and Pixie. It is a special attacking type of Charcadet evolution that evolves from a female Charcadet. The item for it to evolve is the Celestial Robe, and in order to obtain this item, you must defeat any 20 Pokemon from the Ralts line. Its ability, called Lovely Veil, the description goes, her flame's aura is so pure she reduces damage taken from poison moves by half, essentially making it neutral. Its hidden ability is Pixelate. For those of you that don't know, it is a ability that turns normal type moves into fairy type moves. Its signature move is Magna Arrow. So the description on it is, this move works like Flying Press. It deals either fire or fairy damage, depending on which one is more effective. Base power is 90, and it falls into the special category. Overall, it definitely looks like it's fairy typing. Sora put down like a lot of nature, like the main color on it was pink. It does the Cupid bow thing on its arm, which I think is a very nice touch.
Yeah, I really like how it's a very cutesy designed Pokemon, but then it's got that pink crossbow that, I mean, if you're at the end of that, that'll look quite menacing.
I have to agree. I love the design work, how it looks like it's wearing a dress, but it's armored. So you've got the little frill skirt like at the bottom. And I don't want to be on the receiving end of that arrow. I mean, arrows pierce and they go through you. That thing looks like it's going to pierce and removes vital organs and the things attached to them.
That's true. And
The design hides the fact that the base is still a fire type, and you're more focused on the fact that it's a fairy type, and it still fits the same motif of armor type Pokemon.
I'd also like to give a thumbs up to the signature move as well.
I like the contrast between Guren's Pokemon and Sora's, because on one side we've got the big, bulky, all-imposing, dragon-type Charcadet evolution, and then we've got like the small, dainty, Dragon Slayer-esque with that crossbow Pokemon.
We basically have a D&D party.
Oh, we
2 melees,
do.
a tank, and a ranged.
We do. Oh, let's
Fun
go.
boys.
Let me get my dice. Hang on a second.
Have the 5 bites. I shot the 5 bites.
I like it. I'm digging it. Let's go with it. Let's roll with it. Go.
So that was our ideas that we pitched to Stargord Sora for our Charcadet evolutions. So please go check him out. We'll leave his Twitter link down below in the info section. If you ever need a commission from somebody, you can definitely check him out. And he does a lot of great artwork.
So with that, brings the episode to a close. Let us know down below what you think of our ideas, our thoughts. Also, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.